This is the review of the last day of the week, Friday. In retrospect, I can very clearly say Friday was overall a much more better day than whatever that has been happening in the entire week. The entire week was supposed to throw you on a tilt and do damage to your accounts. There were a lot of manipulation. The price wasn't decisive the entire week, even though I would say I did manage it well. I traded it well. Had have my previous self here, I would have done a lot of damage. So uh, it was a rough week, I would say, an overall week which was challenging, and maybe a detailed review, and I should spend more time looking back at what actually I did. Now let's look at the Friday. Overall, the trade idea generation was very well. Some of the management were well, but I need more focus on managing the trades. I was of the undecisive price action of the entire week threw me off out of some really good trades, and I need to look what to avoid more. The day started with DAX opening here, and we seeing a very positive bar, and then the market kind of holding up. And the first thing that you could notice is uh, the bar that goes below the prior bar is quickly bought up. That would mean that there are buyers maybe, and at least what they would want to do is go above the previous made high if they're buying below, or at least at the 50%. And when they went below, you saw a candle closing wick, and now uh, there could be two possibilities. This could be either range, or you the best thing that I would say is to wait. And when you wait, you see a big candle and a strong close at the top with a fairly good continuation. That means the market opened positive, you saw a pullback. This is a second leg up, and you do not want to fight what is happening in the market. So the best thing that you can do is buy when you get a good chance. What you do is you wait for retracement. This was the first retracement I should have bought. I missed the boat, and then when it went back up again, and so the second retracement, that is when I decided to buy the prior bar low. I bought the prior bar low. I righted it, and I closed my position when we made a new high of the day. Uh, Now I was of the opinion that maybe another leg up since the move is strong, but what happened yesterday was a big sell off due to the news of attack, and I wanted to be cautious. That is why I closed my position on the new high, and then I waited to see what would happen, and then it had a bad close, and the next candle was also a bull bar, I would say, but uh, failed to made a new high, uh, closed 50% uh, in the lower half of the candle. And probably if you have to make decisions, what can you do among the six decisions that you have? Do you want to buy the close, sell the close, buy below, sell above, buy above, sell below, or do nothing? uh, the best I could think of was the move is positive. I would definitely do not want to buy the top of the bar, but I am willing to buy below the bar. And when we went below, I bought here, and very this was the same trade. Once I got exited out, I treated this trade as if this is the continuation of the same trade, and if I have not booked my profits, what I would have been in the position would be that I would have been here and my stop would have been here, and I would have moved my stop to break even by now, and I was waiting for a big move up, and I had already booked some profit, so I was in a more comfortable situation. I bought here, put the stop right where it was before, and traded it as the same position. I got stopped out, and then I waited what to do next. We saw three bear bars. Uh, Comparatively to the bars before, these were the big bars, so bears were quite strong here. I looked what is here and how the candle reacted, so we probably could say that there are buyers below this candle, and on the close and on the retracement I bought here, but I had a tight stop. I was expecting that if we go below this candle we should quickly see a reversal, and if no reversal, then the buyers are not willing to buy here, and I got stopped out. Once I got stopped out, that is when I decided that I want to flip the switch. Now I flipped here for a the targets were, I would say, very big in so I was expecting that we would see a retest of if you'd see this was the low that was made, but it was an overnight low, not the market low. This was the target, so I shorted here and the market moved, but it moved so quickly that if you see, there were no retracements here. The sell-off was very strong, and if you are someone who is on the sidelines, and let's say you've seen this bar forming up and it is here, when you look at it, you probably would say, yes, the market is weak, I do not want to buy. But then what do you want to do you want to sell is the next question that you have, and then you say, well, I might want to sell, but I maybe want to sell on a retracement. If I sell right here, where do I put my stop? And if I put it at a prior bar high, it is a low probability. It would be a low probability trade. So the best thing that you would do is to wait. And since no more sellers might come in the market, and you're obviously at the range low, I closed, seeing that it's always the quick moves that throw people off, and you make your losses if the trend is slowly building up and going higher with maybe pullbacks. It's worth betting a lot, but never when you're seeing very quick moves. I exited my trade, waited for a reversal. I on the uh, on the pullback, I sold a prior bar high. Very quickly the position moved in my direction, and then I hoped that this would be continuation. At least we would see test these lows and then maybe much lower, and I moved my stop to break even, got stopped out. Waited for quite some time uh, for the market to decide what it actually wants to do. This was an ABCD move higher, sold the range top, had a tight stop, got stopped out. uh, I actually wanted to put a big stop, but I was of the idea that ABCD is already done. We are already at the range high. We've seen a very strong move. This seems like a 50% retracement. We should see a sell-off, and this is where everybody gets out if they're trapped. Got stopped out, and then we saw and moved down after 3-4 ticks. I got stopped out, and then this is another ABCD move. I sold on a bear close for continuation, and I exited right at the lows of this candle, and this was an ABCD completion. That is why I exited, and then I waited again. It went above. I did nothing. Overall, the decks, the idea generation was very well, I would say. It was not that challenging, but yes, you had to be very careful with the kind of moves that were happening. uh, One thing to notice here as well is you'd see a lot of wicks here, and that means there are probably sellers in this area. uh, this is the Dow Jones, opened very weak. I This was the second 15-minute candle low that I bought. It very quickly moved in my favor. I moved my stop to break even, got stopped out. It continued much lower, and then we saw a, a strong bull bar, and then the market went above it, tried to go lower again, failed, as if this is a retest and a double bottom forming up. The market closed very strongly above 5-minute bar high, uh, above the candle that made the low. I bought here at least expecting this area as a retest, and then I got stopped out. It turned against me, and then as soon as I got stopped out, the market reversed again. But this was a much more stronger bar. I buy the close, buy the continuation close, and I sold here around the highs. And then the market continued, and I did nothing until we reached the top end of the range. This was a double top sell. I sold here. Now I had some ideas that maybe we'd see much lower prices, but I did not wanted to fight the strong trend, so I sold my position off on a bar close, because the people who are waiting to onboard and are thinking if this is to go higher, they would buy the close of the first retracement. Did nothing later on. uh, in terms of the idea generation, this was a break even, but this was also a good trade. Maybe uh, I should have bought a retracement instead of the close. uh, but then you would say if you have waited for a retracement, you would always have been waiting and won't be able to get on board. uh, so kind of good idea, I would say. This was also a good idea. Double top, good idea. Even in the decks, good idea. Prior low, same trade, so nothing to worry. Good idea with a tight stop, good idea to flip. Sell prior bar high with tight stop, good idea. Sell range high, tight stop, good idea. ABCD, good idea. And even it was never like I am trying to buy weakness. Only here I was trying to buy a weakness, because there were 3 bear bars. That was the only place, otherwise we were in the direction of the trend. Now one can argue this is a strength, and why are we selling here? Well, this is range high, and while this doesn't seem like it is actually a strong bull close, and then this is a continuation of the candle. But if you'd see each of the candle and how they've interacted, most of the candles are overlapping. That means there's not much price movement that is happening. These are overlapping candles. You'd see wicks, so that is there is selling happening around this area. And even after a strong push of this candle, you didn't see the price move even after 8 bars much higher. That clearly states that there is weakness in the price. uh, this is Nasdaq. We opened much more stronger than the Dow. If you'd see, the Dow was much more weaker. I was much more willing to buy the Nasdaq. This was the if you'd see here, uh, we went below this prior bar and we saw a push higher, failed to close, and then we went again this prior bar. That is where I bought. I got stopped out here, and I looked at the Dow Jones. It seemed weak. Look at the Nasdaq, seeming weaker and forming weaker. Uh, the DAX was weaker. I was hoping that maybe this could be a start of a sell-off, and 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 while we didn't try to uh, sell the Dow Jones, we surely did sold the Nasdaq on a prior bar high, which could be maybe wrong. The Nasdaq, the Dow Jones was much more weaker. Uh, if that was the idea, then we should have sold the Dow Jones instead of the Nasdaq. That was not a very good trade, I would say, and I got stopped out. Well, during the session, sometimes you miss things, and for sure, this was a miss. I should have. I mean, one can say that the market opened strongly. You came back, so maybe this went below, even below the opening, and you've seen a close. So this is weaker, but in context to where we are standing, this was way above the range. While it was like the Nasdaq was trading around here, while the Dow Jones is trading here, which is well above the highs that were made during the Europes. So Nasdaq was much more higher uh, than the Dow Jones. So Dow was much more weaker. Anyway, I got stopped out of two consecutive trades here. Uh, saw a sell-off, but then ABCD was my idea, and I bought after the candle started reversing up. Exited myself at the top end of the range of the prior bar, and then I waited. The market went well in my favor only, but I was not on boarded, and it was happening here as well. I was desperately waiting, uh, either for a good pullback, maybe because the market has not showed very good strength. That is why you would see, even though every retracement was bought up, uh, the price was retracing, so people were selling around these areas, and then the Dow Jones formed a double top, and around the same time, uh, what the Nasdaq did is it started closing. Uh, if you notice, let's say you start noticing from here, uh, the candles might have gone below a prior bar low, but never closed below a prior bar. See the observation, and if you start seeing from here, this candle closed below these three bars, saw a retracement, this candle closed below. So now you started seeing the market closing below the prior bars. That is a sign of weakness, because nobody is willing to buy. Otherwise prior buy should have been bought. And generally, if the first prior bar is not bought, the second is bought up, and if it is not, then you should be cautious. I sold there for an ABCD move at least, and then maybe waiting that uh, we see a bigger price move down. And when this candle went above and closed, and we had a close here, moved stop to break even. This was way too early, I would say. I was not able to perform very well, I would say, emotionally. That is why I moved my stop. I had a fear of losing, and then I got stopped out. And when I looked later it went well in my favor, both of these trades. uh, it was not a bad idea generation, but it was a bad management of the trades, I would say. Fear of losing, not holding your winners, uh, was a mistake. Anyway, this week has been quite challenging, I would say. We've had some good trades, some bad ones. I'll have to look at the week again, I would say. uh, and then learn what did I do wrong, what did I missed for all the losers. And let hoping that the next week would be much more better, right?